Welcome to our YouTube channel. Some forests grow trees, others grow nightmares. That's the line that started it all. The first words spoken in a scratchy voicemail left for a 32-year-old documentary filmmaker Emma Callahan, just hours before the man who left it was found hanging from a cedar tree deep in the forgotten woods of Hollow Pine Ridge, Kentucky, his lips sewn shut with fishing wire and his camera shattered at his feet. Emma had heard legends before, explored ghost towns, cursed highways, and crumbling asylums, but something about this one felt different. The urgency, the history, the absolute absence of anything online except for a few redacted newspaper clippings from 1913 and whispers on obscure forums where users with names like Rootrot and Skininthasoil posted distorted images of what looked like human faces growing out of tree trunks. Against her better judgment, Emma gathered a three-person crew: Becca, her skeptical sound engineer, Jason, a drone pilot with nerves of steel, and Drew, a folklore expert with a haunted past, and they set out from Chicago to the thick, suffocating hollows of southeastern Kentucky, where the fog clings low like a second skin and the locals talk in hushed riddles, warning them to stay away from the ridge where the earth dons sleep no more. The deeper they drove into the hills, the more reality seemed to unthread the GPS. Glitched birds flew backward, and at one point the road they just driven vanished behind them as if swallowed by the forest itself. But Emma pressed forward, driven by the need to document what no one else dared, to prove that even the darkest legends have a light to expose them. They reached the edge of Hollow Pine Ridge by sundown and pitched camp near a dried creek bed where the rocks pulsed warm beneath their boots and the trees groaned at night like they were breathing. And that's when the whispers began, not through the air, but through the soil, crawling up their bones, repeating each of their names in voices they recognized: mothers, lovers, and one Drew's late brother, who had died in the woods 15 years ago and whose voice now called out in sobs for help. The next day, Jason sent up his drone and discovered something impossible. The aerial footage showed an old rotting house, half swallowed by the woods, covered in vines like veins that none of them could see from the ground, no matter which direction they walked, until nightfall, when a blood-orange moon rose and the path to the house revealed itself like a scar across the land, glowing faintly underfoot. The Wexley house, built in 1906, abandoned since 1913, was exactly as the newspaper clipping described: clapboard warped, chimney cracked, windows dark but whispering. Literally whispering, not with wind, but with words: feed me, stay, she's come home. And inside, Emma found photographs of the original Wexley family nailed to the walls with rusted forks, their eyes scratched out and mouths inked with runes that matched symbols Drew had once seen carved into a suicide victim's chest in a Pennsylvania folklore museum. Each night, someone changed. The crew stopped sleeping, started dreaming with their eyes open. And Jason walked straight into the forest one morning without shoes, camera in hand, and never came back, only to reappear on drone footage hours later, sitting motionless on the roof of the Wexley house, skin covered in bark, smiling at the sky as if waiting for something to descend. Becca tried to leave but returned minutes later, screaming that the trees had moved, that the forest had changed her memories, that she didn't remember her own face anymore. And when Emma showed her a mirror, Becca clawed at her eyes and bled into the wood floor, whispering, "I'm not mine, I'm borrowed," over and over until she stopped breathing. Drew, consumed by guilt and obsession, finally admitted that his brother died near this very ridge while researching Appalachian ritual sites. And he now believed that Hollow Pine wasn't cursed. It was hungry, a living thing fed by trauma, lured by grief, grown from pain, and rooted in stories that wanted to be remembered, because every legend told gives it more shape, more voice, more reach. Desperate, Emma tried to burn the Wexley house down, but the matchstick melted in her hand before the flame could spark. And in that moment she saw it: not a ghost, not a monster, but a woman with bark for skin, black resin dripping from her empty eye sockets, standing at the top of the staircase, whispering Emma's name backwards, over and over, until the walls of the house pulsed like a lung and the doors slammed shut by themselves. Emma ran, camera in hand, through the forest that now curled in on itself like a maze, the trees taller than they'd ever been, their trunks covered in hundreds of screaming faces, mouths agape in silent agony, and when she looked down, she realized her feet were sinking not into mud but into wood. The ground beneath her slowly transforming her into part of the forest. Her final recording, uploaded automatically to the cloud through a satellite connection, shows her sobbing, begging anyone watching to destroy the ridge, to never come looking, to forget the story, but it was too late because the moment someone hears the name Hollow Pine Ridge, it marks them. Pulls at the threads of their fear until they begin to see things in the corners of their eyes, hear roots crawling under their floorboards, and dream of red trees and a woman, whispering in reverse. Emma was never found. Her crew's gear was discovered rusted and buried 10 feet underground. Despite only being missing a week, and the locals now speak even less than they did before, because they know, as do those who listen too long or dig too deep, that Hollow Pine isn't just a forest, it's a mouth. A memory, a myth that feeds on belief, and every time the story is told it grows. Stronger, hungrier, and closer, until one night when the lights flicker and the room smells faintly of wet bark, you hear it too, your own name whispered from the trees asking you to come home. Like, share, and subscribe for more videos.